We're back for another deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
And today we're tackling something pretty interesting. It's all about feigning.
Feigning.
Yeah, pretending, basically.
Yeah.
And it all kind of started with,
Oh, with Merriam-Webster's word of the day.
exactly right, Merriam-Webster's word of the day.
That's cool.
Yeah, so we thought, hey, this is interesting. Let's dive into this. And we've got some really cool source material for this one.
Yeah, it's someone's like personal reflections on these 10 open-ended questions about
Yeah.
like feigning and authenticity, and
But yeah, it's like how we all...
it's like getting a sneak peek into how someone else thinks about this, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's like, because we all do it right. Like, we
Yeah.
all kind of pretend sometimes.
And to what degree?
Yeah, to what degree and why.
And
And
the reasons.
yeah. So let's jump into it. What,
Yeah, I think one of the things that really struck me was how the source starts off talking about those relatable situations where we feel this pressure to wear a mask, you know, like wanting to fit in with a group, even if you don't really feel like you belong or you downplay aspects of your personality to avoid conflict.
yeah.
Like, have you ever felt that way?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we all have. It's like this almost like innate desire to be accepted,
Yeah.
you know, and that sometimes means holding back a little bit of who we really are, or maybe even like exaggerating certain parts of ourselves to kind of...
They present a certain image.
Exactly, yeah, to fit in. And I mean, the source goes on to say that, you know, sometimes pretending is also about just wanting to be liked.
Oh, totally. And that's like a very human thing, right? We're social creatures. We crave connection.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that we would, you know, sometimes consciously or unconsciously adjust our behavior to kind of increase those odds of being liked or accepted.
Yeah, it's almost like this like survival mechanism in a way,
Kind of, yeah.
you know? But this raises the question of, you know, where's that line
Right.
between just being polite and being inauthentic?
Yeah, where's that balance?
Right. And I mean, that's exactly what the source kind of grapples with, is that there's this distinction between the superficial small talk,
Right.
you know, where a little bit of pretending might be harmless,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Totally.
versus like those deeper conversations where you're really looking for genuine connection.
Where you want to show up authentically.
Exactly. And it makes me wonder, can you even be both? Can you be polite and authentic?
I think that's the challenge, right? It's this constant
Yeah.
like tightrope walk, and
Yeah.
the source's reflections really highlight that tension between wanting to be true to yourself and also, you know...
Yeah, navigating those social expectations.
Exactly. And reading those social cues and adjusting accordingly. And what I thought was really interesting is how they talked about that whole fake it till you make it philosophy.
Yes. I love this part.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think they make a really good point that it can be a super powerful tool for like overcoming your fears, you know?
Like pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. Exactly. Yeah, even when you feel intimidated. But then there's that flip side
Right.
where they caution that it can be really harmful if it involves deceiving others.
Yeah. Like, where's that line
Totally.
between, you know, self-improvement and manipulation?
Yeah, and I think the example they give of public speaking is so good because, you know, you could be terrified to get up on stage,
Right.
but if you project that confidence, even if you don't feel it, over time, that can actually help you to actually feel more confident.
Like you're training your brain.
Yeah, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy almost.
Totally.
You know, and I think about like my first time hosting an event.
Oh, yeah.
I was terrified.
But you did it.
But I just pretended like I was born for the stage.
Yeah.
And now
And now look at you.
I actually enjoy it. But
And you can see how that same principle could be really harmful.
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
If someone's like faking expertise to get a job,
Right.
that has real consequences.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. Right. So it's all about intention.
Yeah, intention. And I think the source then shifts gears a little bit and they talk about happiness. And they make this argument that like faking positive emotions
Yeah.
is not a sustainable strategy.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's a temporary fix. And they really emphasize that you need to cultivate genuine happiness from like a sturdy ground.
Like a foundation.
Exactly. And I think this ties into some of the research out there,
Yeah.
you know, about how our body language can influence our emotions.
Oh, totally. Like, have you heard of Amy Cuddy's work on power posing?
Yes.
Where, you know, she found that standing in a powerful posture can actually increase your feelings of confidence.
Yeah, even if you don't initially feel confident.
Yeah. So there's definitely something to be said for that mind-body connection.
Right.
But I think the source's point is that lasting happiness comes from more than just striking a pose.
Yeah.
It's about having that sense of purpose, those meaningful relationships, that feeling of self-worth.
Right. And this makes me think about what they call like midway steps.
Would waste.
Yeah. So they talk about like changing your appearance,
Uh-huh.
with makeup or working out
Oh, interesting.
as a way to kind of boost your mood. It's almost like,
Make a stepping stone.
exactly. Yeah. And I think there's something to be said for that.
For sure. And I think those things can be really helpful tools.
Mhm.
If putting on a bold lipstick or hitting the gym gives you that temporary boost,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that those are just tools.
Right.
They're not the solution in and of themselves.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
They can't fix the underlying issues,
Exactly.
And I think that the last part of their reflections,
Yeah.
the source talks about something that I find super fascinating, which is this idea of recognizing hidden feelings in others.
Uh-huh.
And they talk about paying attention to like indirect language and tone as clues.
Ooh, that's so interesting because that's getting into like the whole world of nonverbal communication,
Right.
right? Because sometimes our words are only telling a fraction of the story,
Yeah.
right? Like think about body language.
Yeah.
Think about microexpressions, like those fleeting facial movements that can reveal a lot, or even silence.
Oh, yeah.
All of those things can provide insights into what someone's really feeling.
Yeah. And so how do we get better at picking up on those more subtle signals?
So one practical tip is to look for inconsistencies
Uh-huh.
between what someone is saying
Right.
and how they're saying it.
Yes.
So like if a friend says, "Oh, I'm fine," but their voice is strained and their shoulders are hunched,
Right.
that's a mismatch.
Yeah.
That might be a sign that there's something more going on.
Yeah. And maybe it's not the right time to pry,
Right.
but it's just like, okay, there's something more here.
Just being aware.
Yeah. So taking all of this in,
Yeah.
what does it all mean? We've explored the reasons why we pretend that blurry line between being polite and authentic and, the potential pitfalls of faking emotions.
I think it all comes back to self-awareness. Being aware of the reasons behind our own masks. And then also being attuned to the cues that other people are sending.
Yeah.
So we can navigate those interactions
Yeah.
with more authenticity and empathy.
Yeah. It's this fascinating challenge, right? Like,
It is.
how do we create those genuine connections in a world where
Yeah, where
everyone's kind of putting on a performance?
we're all performing to some degree.
Yeah. So as you go about your day, think about that.
Yeah, observe your own behavior.
Yeah.
See where you might be.
You pretending,
Yeah.
and how can you create more authentic connections?
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to another Deep Dive.
Bye.
See you next time.